In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Take a little trip with me and hopefully you can see how the hood, suburbs, and Main Street are all connected. Enough respect it, I mean, we network across the globe cause it's a global market in case you didn't know. And since we all about information flow, let me be the first one to welcome you to Tech Zone with Paul Amadeus Lane. Let's talk tech cause technology changing the game. It's all good in the hood, it's everywhere. Now let's get to the show cause we live on air, yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Zone. What is up? It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane, and I am so delighted to have you on the show today. I have missed you all so much. It's been months since I did a show. I want to say it was back in either January or February. I'll explain more about that later on. But we welcome you who are listening on our flagship station, ABC News Radio affiliate, KMET 1490 here in beautiful Southern California. What can you expect on our show today? We're going to check in with our good friend from the Consumer Technology Association Foundation, Mr. Steve Ewell. He has a new title. So we're going to find out how things are going on with the foundation. I haven't talked to him since CES back in January, almost 5 months. So it'll be good to chat with him and see what's going on. He has a new title too, so you don't want to miss that. Also, we are going to talk about a display with a pen that allows you to be creative. If you're a student, allows you to take notes. And we're talking about our good friends at Wacom. They have this brand new innovation that they shared at CES 2024 that I have an opportunity to chat with one of their reps, their marketing director, about this amazing product and much, much more. All right. Remember, you can connect with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com, all social media, including LinkedIn. Why? Because I am a businessman, because I'm about my business, man. That's what I'm about. So connect with me, please. IG. I'm about to get off of X. X is just a cesspool of nonsense. But Facebook, Paul Amadeus Lane. IG, Paul Amadeus Lane. TikTok, Paul Amadeus Lane. You can connect with me there. I missed you. It's been a while since I did a show, and I'll catch you up on what I've been up to. As you know, I've been moonlighting as an accessibility consultant in the gaming and the tech world. Well, when I got back from CES 2024, I was hit with a lot of projects that kind of took me away from the show. And in addition to that, I had some severe allergies that I was dealing with, and I just wasn't up to it. So I say this because I will never stop doing the Tech Zone, but I'm not quite sure how frequently I will do it, whether if it'll be a bi-monthly show, a monthly show. But I may be at the point now where I'm not able to do weekly shows no more because of my other obligations. But I'll keep you posted and we'll see what's up. But I'm not going away. So I'm still going to talk about some of the great innovation out there, some of the great tech, and how it can enhance all of our lives out there. And the opportunities that have been given has been in part from my relationship with my first guest, Stephen Ewell. Steve, the executive director of the CTA Foundation, he's introduced me to a lot of people in the tech world who has reached out to me about sharing my expertise when it comes to accessibility, AgeTech, and also accessibility. So he is one of the reasons why I'm able to have that career arc now as well too. So I'm always delighted to have him on, always delighted to give him his flowers. And let's talk to him about what's going on, get his thoughts of CES 2024 and beyond, and his new role. Let's talk with him now. I am so delighted to have with me on right now my great friend, the amazing executive director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation and the vice president of Accessibility and Age Tech at the Consumer Technology Association, my good friend, Sir Stephen Ewell. What's going on, Steve? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Paul. It's always great to join you. And evidently, I'm just trying to make that title longer and longer for you. Really pump up my introductions here. But no, it's great to join you, and always happy to get caught up.
Same here, my friend. I had no idea, Steve, that you and I hadn't done a segment since CES 2024. So 5 months have passed, my friend, and we haven't had a chance to have a chat. So I am so glad. I see you doing tremendous things for not only for the foundation, but also for the association now. So I really appreciate you carving up some time for me so that we can chat. So what's been going on, Steve?
Well, you're right. I can't believe it's been 5 months since CES, but it's been an amazing year. We had an incredible CES, and we were just so excited to see the amount of attention that both age tech and accessible disability tech received at the show this year. We saw everything from the programs that we run that just had incredible engagement across the entire show, but also other companies and other activities that were building out technology, really showcasing the way that technology can help people of all ages and abilities. So, yeah, since CES, we've also been celebrating. This is the 100th anniversary of the launch of the Consumer Technology Association. So we started as the radio manufacturers way back in 1924. As technology has changed, we have changed as well, and that led us to be the Consumer Technology Association that you're hearing now. And we're having lots of great celebrations, engaging with our members and our partners like yourself throughout the year as we celebrate this centennial here, and look forward to 100 years and more ahead. So that's been keeping us busy. And then, yes, as you mentioned, still running the CTA Foundation. The CTA Foundation's focused on using technology to help older adults and people with disabilities. I'll highlight a bit more on some of the activities going on there soon. But the new piece is on the association side, we're building up a work group focused on technology for accessibility and age tech, whereas the foundation's really focused on how do we get technology in the hands of the older adults and people with disabilities. This working group is really how do we engage the industry to ensure that they're building the types of products and solutions that will ultimately serve the needs of the people we're serving through the foundation. So two sides of a coin, but I think ultimately they work really well together, and it's been amazing to see the interest level we're seeing from the industry in this new working group. Whenever you start something new like this and you start to kind of put it out there, you're like, is anyone else going to want to join me on this? I'm getting a lot of people raising their hands and say they want to join on this. And the fun thing about accessibility and age tech is it's not really a siloed technology. This is something that, whether we're talking vehicles, smart home, health tech, you name the segment of the industry, there's an opportunity for us to partner and work with a wide variety of companies within our industry, and we're seeing that engagement from across the industry. So I'm really excited. We really are in the very early stages of pulling this group together, so you'll be seeing a lot more from us later in the year, and certainly as we start ramping up towards CES 2025, which is coming up way too quick.
Tell me about it, my friend. And as always, Steve, count me in with anything you do. I got your back, my friend, because you, as we talked about on many of our chats before, you are the 6 degrees of technology. Everybody knows Steve Ewell, and my friend, just to see where we're at, especially when it comes to the Consumer Technology Association, man, I am like just blown away, Steve. I've been covering it since 2008, and to see just the focus on accessibility, age tech, and all these different things, it really warms my heart, Steve. And there have been some other changes over at the Consumer Technology Association Foundation. My good friend Kinsey, I was like, wow. So talk about her new role. Talk about Gary's new role, if you don't mind. Maybe some are not familiar with what kind of like the new structure there at the Consumer Technology Association. Can you share that with us, please, friend?
Sure, and I'll admit I'm going to keep very kind of high level as far as everything, but yes, we're really excited. Gary is continuing to lead the association as our CEO, but Kinsey has been promoted to be president of the association, and it's really incredible. I mean, she's overseeing all the membership activities. She's been overseeing the CES activities, and really being able to continue to build her career. I think everyone is just so excited to see her continue to grow and take on a bigger leadership role, while also continuing to engage Gary and his leadership and expertise. And we're really excited. I mean, it's kind of the best of both worlds, having the two of them in the leadership at CTA. So we're really excited to have those changes and see where this launches us into the future.
No, I totally agree. When I heard the word and everything, I was like, you know, we still have Gary there. We have Kinsey. We have you now, VP of Accessibility and Age Tech and Consumer Technology. It's just the maturation process of the association. We see it now, and it's really really awesome. And so, Steve, let's talk about some things that the foundation is doing right now, if you don't mind sharing
Yeah.
that with me, if you can. I don't want to twist your arm and you tell me something you're not supposed to, because I'm good for that. But if you don't mind sharing that with us, please, my friend.
Absolutely. And Paul, I love coming on your show, and you always manage to get me to share something right before it's supposed to go public. So, why not do it again here? So, yes, the CTA Foundation, we just approved a round of funding for nonprofits here in the US. $530,000 worth of grants going across 25 different organizations, really across the entire country, focused on using technology to help either older adults or people with disabilities. So some of those programs are programs we've supported before, but there's many new organizations that are part of this cohort. So it's a really interesting mix. It's really been interesting to see the new types of requests that we've been getting. So, for instance, this year we saw a real spike in the number of requests for smart home technology, particularly for serving people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we're actually supporting three different organizations. One is an organization called St. John's Community Services. They are in the DC area, Virginia, up into Delaware. We're also working with an organization called MOCA, which is out in Michigan. And then we're working with Easter Seals, Arkansas, in Arkansas. And each of them are going to be building out smart home solutions for their group homes for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I'm really excited to see, each of these organizations will have the freedom to kind of build up their own program and their own design for these smart homes, but we'll be able to learn from what each of them is doing and what's successful for some organizations versus where they each have challenges. So I'm really excited to see that continue to grow. And there was really a whole lot of organizations all over the country that we saw looking to get more and more into this smart home ecosystem. I think part of it is the challenge with caregiving. They're having a really hard time hiring enough people. So, this is a way to help those caregivers as well, because, they're still trying to hire as many people as they can into those roles, but you run into burnout if you don't have enough people to do this. So hopefully some of this technology can help provide some of that independence, provide a little bit of assistance for those caregivers, as well as the individuals living in those homes. So we're really excited about that. We also saw, near and dear to your heart, a lot of interest in gaming and accessibility. So we are continuing to work with the Able Gamers charity with some of their work to bring education and access to accessible gaming to people with a wide variety of disabilities. But we've also expanded out into, we're working with an organization up in Connecticut called Oak Hill, for the blind and low vision community, and they're going to be running some gaming programs. And then we're working with a senior community called Front Porch, who they're one we have worked with in the past for other issue areas, but they're building out a gaming system for seniors as well. So it'll be interesting once again to see the different communities, the different organizations, and how we can best share lessons learned from across these different organizations. So I'm excited. I think gaming is an incredible way to create the social connection, create the engagement level, and it really is for people of all ages and all abilities. So I'm excited to see what's coming out of that. Another new organization that we're working with is the Adler Aphasia Center. So aphasia is where people can have difficulty speaking, difficulty processing information. So we are buying a wide variety of different types of technologies that they'll be using, everything from tablets to smart boards to other types of technologies, because evidently being able to read on the screen as you're engaging helps with the processing of information for people with aphasia. So we're really excited to be able to support their work as well. And there's just so many other organizations. I'd encourage people to take a look at CTA Foundation .tech. It's .tech. And you'll see a link on there to our grants page where you'll see all of the current 25 organizations that are getting funding this year, as well as you can see some of the previous recipients that we've done over the last dozen years that we've had this foundation. So I'm really excited to get this group going, and I can't wait to see the impact it'll have on the community all over the country.
Yeah, it's a great time for gaming, Steve. I never thought in a million years that gaming would be where it is today. But not only that, where gaming is employing ones like myself and others as consultants to work on these various projects to make sure gaming is inclusive for all. And one thing that we're noticing now too in the gaming trend is some of the gamers are aging into now being seniors who grew up off the Super NES, the ones who grew up off the ColecoVision and the Intellivision, and they still want a game. But you take a regular dual sense controller, PlayStation controller, and it can be overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing. So some of the different accessibility features that are in the software, but also the different I like the access controller and things like that. That it's opening up a whole new world, for a lot. Now, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Steve. Did you get your gaming console yet?
I'm more of a PC gamer these days. I'll admit my last game console, I probably shouldn't even admit this, is a Nintendo 64. So I am a little bit behind on the console space, but no, I love firing up a good game on the PC. And actually, I'm just in the middle of figuring out when I upgrade to the new PC system. So we'll see where I end up there. But yeah, no, we had Sony at CES on the Hill, which is a mini CES that we do in Washington D.C. for representatives, congressional members and their staffs. And Sony was there highlighting the accessible controller that you were very involved with in the creation of. So we're excited to see the solutions. Certainly Microsoft has their accessible controllers, and recently at GAD they've made all kinds of announcements as well. So I'm just excited. I mean, whether you want to play mobile games on your phones or tablets, whether you want to be a PC gamer, whether you want to be on a console, or that's the nice thing about consumer technology is there's so many different options. There's so many different solutions because we all have different ways that we like to game. We all have, you might be playing those first-person shooters while I'm, doing one more turn in Civilization instead of getting some sleep, and so on and so on. So I'm really excited to see the options that are out there for people.
See, I knew you and I were good friends because I love Civilization. I used to play it every day. Because I got to the point where I was in deity mode, and I can finish the game in like 2 hours. So
Wow.
Civilization Revolution, that was my jam right there. I really enjoy games like that. I'm gonna give a shout out right quick to to our good friend Mark Barley over at Able Gamers, and also Satish, who works over at Sony. He was like the lead over there on the access controller. I saw some of the pictures of the team over there in DC, and I was like, man, I could have hung out with Steve if I would have went up there. I got to, I got to quit. I got to quit being afraid of getting on the plane, Steve. That's my thing. That's kind of holding me back, man. When I get through that kind of fear, man, I'm gonna be a frequent flyer guy, man.
Well, that look forward to having you back east here anytime, and then I will certainly let you know when I come out west.
Absolutely. So, Steve, what are some other things, especially looking at your new role of Vice President of Accessibility and AgeTech at the Consumer Technology Association? You kind of mentioned some of the things in the focus of this of your title, and also your under your leadership. What are some other things, if you mind, if you can talk about, we can look forward to when it comes to this? Does this mean like more accessibility programming at CES, more accessibility programming throughout the year, age tech, all these different things? Are we going to go into not only the technology side of it, but also maybe the accessibility when it comes to hospitality and other different modalities out there when it comes to just making a more inclusive and accessible world? If you don't mind sharing that with us, please.
Yeah, appreciate the question. And honestly, we're so new; we're still figuring some of this out. But the good news is it will lead to more of activity, more types of programs that we'll be doing throughout the year. Certainly, we're continuing to build on what we've been able to do at CES. It'll give us a chance to better engage with some of the other activities that CTA does so well. So, market research and policy and standards activities and other kind of activities that CTA does across the association. This is our chance to really, I mean, we've been doing it through our foundation, but the foundation is a separate organization. So there's a little bit of a firewall sometimes with some of those activities. Whereas by doing it in-house within CTA, it's going to lead to more and more opportunities for us to engage the membership in this, and more opportunities for us to build on the expertise that CTA has across the association and across the membership. So you're going to see a lot of great things coming out. I know there's at least one study underway that I'm not sure quite when that's going to be published, probably closer to the end of the year or so. But I think that will be very interesting. But there's going to be more opportunities for us to build on that as we move forward. But give me a few months to at least get my feet under me before I completely redo everything.
Hey, I hear you, my friend. I definitely hear you. I wanted to go back, if I could, Steve. At this year's CES 2024, we saw a more robust accessibility kind of presence there. And I know the feedback that I've gotten from it. What are some of the feedback that you've gotten from it? Were ones pleasantly surprised by that? Were they like, hey, man, this is long overdue. I'm glad we're doing it. Well, what were some of the feedback that you've gotten from the inside? Because I always wanted to talk with you right after CES 2024, but time just flew away. So if you can, in the debriefs with the organization and everything, what was the feedback, from the amount of accessibility and age tech that was there at this CES?
Yeah, I think people were really encouraged by the amount of accessibility that they saw and the amount of age tech that they saw at the show. Certainly whether it was from the panels, things like our pitch competition that we were able to, we lined up this amazing MC for the pitch competition. So, that helped draw people in and get them engaged. One Mr. Paul Amadeus Lane there.
Thank you.
But no, I've heard from a lot of people that they were excited and they noticed the change from previous years. Accessibility and age tech have been issues that we've been working on for years, but this year it really seemed to take another step, and I'd even say another giant leap forward in the attention, and just the amount of not just our activities, but when you looked at Samsung and LG and Sony, and when you looked at some of these big booths, and accessibility was one of the first things you saw when you walked into their booths. And being able to put that right out front, in addition to we always do the Eureka Park accessibility contest and have a chance to highlight 5 companies that are doing incredible work, startups related to aging or disability. But they were 5 that we were very excited to highlight, but there were so many more startup companies that were working in this space that were from all over the world addressing some of these challenges. So we got some great feedback. There's always more that I want to do. There's always more that people point out that we can do, and we're working on that and trying to see what we can build out, because my big thing now is making sure that we seize on this engagement, seize on this interest that we're seeing out there, and not just let it fade into the background as we move on to the next big shiny thing, but be able to really continue to grow based on what we saw this past year. And I'm excited. I think we really will at CES 2025 and beyond.
I totally agree with you, my friend. And I love how proactive the association is. And the association is catching up with the foundation, in my opinion, because you've always been passionate when it comes to assistive, adaptive technology and all these different things. And I remember it was a couple of years ago, a media event we had here in LA, and Kinsey was there, Ali Fried was there, and there was a bunch of media there. And I posed a question about accessibility. What are we going to see at accessibility for CES 2023? And I love the response that Kinsey and Ali gave, because in 2024, we were at the event, they had a whole feature to accessibility, and our good friend Brian Komisky, he was the one who did that. And I was like, see, CTA listens to technology, and technology right now, the wave is accessibility, age tech, because what do I say all the time, Steve? If it's good for me, it's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be one size fit all. So when we get into that mentality, and when we think that if we build with our community in mind, also the age tech, the seniors in mind, then everybody else can use it. You're not going to have difficulty using it. But now you have this 30% of the consumer base out there that can now say, hey, you're listening to me now, so let me share some of my dollars with you. So I appreciate all that you do behind the scenes, Steve.
Well, and it's something that, honestly, it's a little bit self-serving as well, because, if we build things that are going to work for us as we're aging, if it works for us, if we have a disability, whether we have a disability now or need the technology now, at some point in our lives, most likely whether it's a temporary disability or a permanent disability, we're going to experience something where having that accessibility feature built into the technology is really going to make a difference. So it really does help everyone. So that's where I'm excited about some of this technology and where I see so much opportunity moving forward. So yes, I mean, this is something that we pay a lot of attention to. That's part of why we engage so many of the organizations that we work with around the country, and why we love getting your feedback as well, and making sure that we incorporate as much accessibility as we can into the show.
No, I appreciate this. And Steve, I mentioned this before I brought you on. I talked to the audience about, where I've been the last few months. And even though there hasn't been a lot of shows that I've released with the tech zone, even the entertainment zone, I've been doing some other projects in the accessibility field. And I mentioned that you are one of the ones solely responsible for having me level up my game so that I'm sought after now. And it's all because of the experience, not the experience, but the opportunities that you've given me, you trusted in me, and telling ones about me. So I really appreciate you, Steve. You are one of those ones that, as we look 10 years from now, Steve Ewell is going to be on that Mount Rushmore of assistive and adaptive technologies, just because of what you were able to do and connect so many people together, to make things just more inclusive and accessible for us. I really appreciate you, my friend, and thank you so much for all all that you've done for me personally, but also the community as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I have no idea if I deserve that or not, but I appreciate it. And, I really just think, you're doing incredible things. And, just remember little old me when you're up there on that Mount Rushmore, I'm just trying to ride your coattails. So,
Yeah. No, the feeling is mutual, my friend. Before I let you go, anything else out there you'd like to share with the viewer, the listener out there that we didn't cover so far, my friend?
no, we hit a whole lot of topics. I will be probably coming back to you when we launch our Eureka Park Accessibility Contest for CES 2025. That will be a little bit later in the summer, though. So, right now there's just a lot of great things happening. And if people want to follow us, we're on the various social channels. Particularly LinkedIn is probably one of our most active for the foundation right now. But if you look up CTA Foundation or go to our website at ctafoundation.tech, you can see the latest activities we have going on and everything that's going to be coming out over the next few months. So thank you, Paul, for having me, and thanks for all the work you do to cover these great technologies.
Anytime, my friend. And this is the first time that Steve and I both have a beard together. Normally he would have one, I wouldn't have one. I have one, he didn't have one. So we are the bearded brothers. Yes, we are. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Thank you.
That was my great friend, Sir Stephen Ewell, Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation, and now the Vice President of Accessibility and AgeTech for the Consumer Technology Association, man. So proud of you, Steve, man. Nothing but love for you, brother. All right, when we get back, we're going to talk about a display that allows you to be creative, allows you to take notes. If you're a student, if you're a teacher, if you're a designer, if you're a business person, it's for you too. We're going to be joined by our next special guest coming up right after these messages.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone that can.
You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.